because it happens to us all. We all lose faith and we fear. It doesn't mean that we're abnormal. It just means that we've stopped believing. It just means that we've stopped trusting and our confidence has dropped. You know, as soon as the disciples realized that they were in great danger, they were gripped with fear. It didn't occur to me because I didn't realize that the disciples were fishermen. So they were used to fishing in deep and dark and dangerous waters, in bad weather. So for them to be gripped with fear, the storm had to be sudden, and it had to be so extreme that they were so frightened for their lives. How would you feel? I want you to try and imagine being in the same boat as the disciples. Now the lake is calm. There's nothing untoward. It's lovely and peaceful, and you're all together, and Jesus is there. But then a sudden squall comes down upon the lake. Now, a squall is a sudden attack of sound. It's a loud cry and a loud wailing noise from the wind. Imagine hearing this. The cries and wailing in your ear. The boat is being swept and wildly tossed and turned, compacted with the raw ferocity of the windy storm. We've all seen recently the destruction that Storm Eunice has done to Great Britain. Is it any wonder then that the disciples thought they were going to drown? If I'm honest, I don't think I would react any differently. I think I would be in the same fear as the disciples. When they called on Jesus, and Jesus came and rebuked the waters, and then asked them, "Where is your faith?" Well, that's what I'd like to ask. Where is your faith? Where is our faith? There will be many storms within our lifetime, and we will face squalls of negative talking, negative forces coming at us right, left, in front, behind, above, and maybe even below us. And they will come from strangers, friends, and sadly, those closely known to us, maybe even family. So I thought, instead of trying to understand about faith, why don't we try to understand about fear first? Well, fear, what happens to us when we fear? Well, fear affects the nervous system. It causes the body to either physically react, mentally react, or both at the same time, or even both at the same time. It can be caused from small circumstances, big circumstances or situations, dangerous ones, and ones most extreme. And it can either, it will bring on such a fear that will make us feel unsafe and unsure. Fear instantly fails us when we're so scared and too scared to try for fear of failing, so we don't try at all. Put my hand up to that. I mean, we might hold each other back, we might hold ourselves back, or even those close to us. In Proverbs 3, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Trust is in line of faith. The hymn chorus, turn your eyes upon Jesus, tells me that. Look down on his wonderful face, and the things on earth will grow strangely dim in the light of God's glory and grace. You see, it's when we turn away from Jesus that it all falls apart and life's storms come along. We miss it by miles, don't we? I know I do. Not trusting him, not leaning on him, failing to acknowledge him. And so how can he direct and make our paths straight? So without trust, we cannot have faith. So easily done though, isn't it? I sometimes forget to put my trust in God. The disciples did the same, and that's why their faith failed. I lean on my own understanding as well. I completely leave God out of the picture and into the cold, so to speak. I'm really good at DIY, doing it myself. I've done it so many times, and I've been blessed that it's worked out fine. But like a squall, what a shift. What a shift when I've leaned on God and not on my own understanding. You know, Martha and I used to be athletes. We used to run to English championship levels. Martha did the 400 metres, the 400 metre hurdles, 800 metres, high jump, and relay. You ought to have seen her in high jump. She was only 5 foot. The rest of the others were near 6 foot. I'm sure they could have thought they could have stood on her. But she always got through to the final. And she always missed out on the first 3. People were amazed. I did the 100 metres, 200 metres, long jump, 400 metres at a later stage, and relay. On one particular race, I was preparing for 100 metres. I warmed up, I got my mind focused, and stood up in the starting position. I entered into my starting blocks that was given to me because we didn't have the money to be able to buy them. After the silence, the gun went off, and off we leapt from our blocks to head towards the finishing line. When you do 100 metres, you have very little time to think. All you can think of is winning the race. I was shy, I was not a confident person, ways I still have about me, but I knew I could run. Except for this reason, on that occasion, I was struggling, and I lost all my speed. My loss of speed was unlike me. My twin can vouch for that. I was so behind, with no means of being able to catch up to anyone, not even the one ahead of me. 3 times I told myself, I can't run. I like watching Indiana Jones. One of my favourites is the Temple of Doom. What a thing to confess to anybody when they're asking, what's one of your favourite films? Oh, the Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones has to cross over the bridge to get to the other side. Only there is no bridge, and he doesn't know how he's going to get across to the other side. He realises that he has to have faith. It's one thing to ask when you don't have it. And it had to be his direct faith. In order to cross over the bridge, he had to leap of faith. He had never contemplated God. He had never thought of God. He had never included God in anything. It could not be his father's faith. It had to be directly from his heart and his faith alone. Well, if you've seen the film, you will know the outcome of what happened by his direct faith. My faith was no different. My mum and dad had a deep faith in God. I was not Christian. All I knew then was that my heart was full of pure desperation. And in desperation, I said to God, "Oh God, help me." I will never forget it, because I can only describe it as a squall of God's speed running underfoot. I don't even recall passing the contestants, only crossing the line. I didn't just win, I won by far. I was surrounded by people who were in awe as I was in shock. I was in shock of what happened. They and myself unknowingly witnessed the power of God. They showered me with congratulations, and my twin came through and stood in front of me. It was just me and my twin at that time. And Martha said to me, "What happened?" I said, "I don't know. I just couldn't run." But that wasn't me. That was not me. "I know," Martha said, "because I know how you run." That was the first time I ever knew for myself the difference between my faith and God's faith. You see, God's faith is vast. God's faith is noticeable. If all you can say is, "Lord, I do not have the faith, but you do. Please help me," you know, that's enough. He will hear you. He will answer you. Because I know he did to me. You know, when we stop DIYing, doing it ourselves, and choose to do it with God, I'll tell you this much. Not only will you notice God moving, but others will too. Don't forget your P's and Q's. So thank God. Because when God gives you something much greater outside your own potential, you are running on God's fuel of faith inside of you. You know, I can't help thinking of my Lord when I think of the song, "Lean on Me." When you're not strong, and I'll be your friend, I'll help you carry on. Oh, it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You see, when we lean on God, God leans on us. So why don't we dig together? Do it with God. You know, the sketch hasn't quite finished. So let's take another look back towards what we thought might have been the end. And if, at the end of it, you want to repeat the same prayer, just in your heart say amen, because that is enough. God will hear you. God will answer you, because God knows your heart. He made it after all.